Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Every Damn Week podcast. My name is John Kirby. So this is going to be part one of a three-part series that I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks. Every damn day is shifting, as you know, and the focus is on helping dads to work on themselves and make themselves a priority so that they can be available to those who love them the most. And part of that involves changing the pillars of every damn day. In the past, as you know, I've talked about the three pillars being physical, mental, and spiritual progress. And those remain. Those are all the goals that we have. And that's really what they are, goals. Now what we're going to talk about is the core pillars that support all three of those. And the three that do this are building unshakable discipline. That's what we're going to talk about today. The other two parts are achieving true balance. And then the last one will be develop steadfast integrity. So this week, we're going to get into talking about how to build unshakable discipline. And discipline is one of the most important parts. It's really one of the strongest pillars, in my opinion, because it's discipline that's going to help get things done. What I want to do is share first. I'm going to share a quote with you about discipline from Jim Rohn. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. And I've learned this because I've struggled so long in my life to really have developed serious accomplishments in my life. And I didn't understand what it took to set goals and to take those goals and to transform them into accomplishments. And now I understand. The missing piece of the puzzle for me was discipline. So let's dive in and talk about what the definition of personal discipline is. Personal discipline is the ability to control one's emotions, behaviors, and desires in the face of external demands to achieve a greater goal or adhere to a set of standards. It involves the practice of self-regulation, self-control, and the consistent application of habits and actions that align with one's values and objectives, regardless of obstacles, distractions, or temptations. Now, I want to dive into one thing here about discipline. Some people may confuse discipline with motivation. The two are very different. What motivation is, it's the driving force to initiate action. But often, motivation is temporary and it fluctuates. It's based upon your emotions and external circumstances that may be going on. So motivation is not really the key ingredient to help you get from goal to accomplishment. Discipline, on the other hand, this is the consistent commitment to actions regardless of motivation. It keeps you going when motivation fades. My absolute favorite quote is, "Consistency is undefeated." And to give you a good example, a marathon runner may feel motivated to get started running, but it's not the motivation that keeps a marathon runner doing it day after day and preparing and doing that marathon. It's discipline. Regardless of your mood, regardless of the weather and other external circumstances, discipline is what's going to push, or rather, in my opinion, pull you to the finish line, get you to where you want to be. According to a study by the University of Pennsylvania, individuals with higher self-control are 40% more likely to succeed in their personal and professional lives. Now, what I want to do is I want to talk about, well, what does it look like when somebody doesn't have discipline? And this is something that I've understood more about myself before every damn day, before I really put in and built the discipline that I have now. So let's cover these really quick. So first of all, One example is inconsistent progress. Without discipline, people may start tasks and with the enthusiasm that they want to really get started with those, but then they fail to complete them. I fell into this really bad. This was pointed out to me by people, my wife, my friends. They would see me start something, but I would never finish. It was uneven completion, uneven progress, incomplete projects, or I procrastinate. Uh, procrastination is almost a sign. I've seen it described as a sign of depression as well. Procrastination can be a negative thing, but it's also interesting. Go look up what Ben Hardy says about procrastination. He kind of ties that in the book, Who Not How. So there's two ways to look at procrastination. In this case, procrastination is I don't want to do it. And it's not necessarily that I don't know how to do it. It's just I don't feel like it. So that's lack of discipline. An example would be somebody who is starting a fitness regimen and they're highly motivated when they get started, but then gradually skip workouts, and it leads to stagnation and regression in their physical health. This was me before every damn day. So perfect example. Another one, poor time management. With a lack of discipline, it often results in poor planning and disorganized schedules, making it difficult for us to prioritize our tasks effectively. Wasted time. If you're struggling to put your schedule together and stick to it, this is not discipline. You might spend hours and hours on social media instead of working on a critical project. And sometimes it can be ADHD, but most of the time it's just poor time management. It's really what it comes down to. A third one is decreased productivity. Without discipline, people are less likely to focus on tasks, and that leads to lower productivity and efficiency. We'll talk about this in a little bit, but multitasking this falls into a lack of discipline. And I will dive deeper into this in a little bit. Weak willpower. We'll also dive a little more into this too, where a lack of discipline makes it harder to resist temptations, distractions, causing frequent deviations from your goals. Social media, another great example for this. In a diet, falling to comfort foods and sugar falls right into this too. And then the last one I want to cover is low self-esteem. When you fail to achieve goals due to inconsistent efforts, all of these things that are happening, all this can lead to feelings of inadequacy and low self-worth. And then you start getting into the negative self-talk, and you start to make friends with that inner critic in your head, and it gets ugly. So when you're regularly missing deadlines or failing to stick to personal commitments, this can erode your self-confidence. And once you start tearing yourself down and you are no longer your own best friend, the discipline just goes away. It just isn't there. So I want to now dive into what are some components of discipline that help us build our discipline over time. For me, I have, as you know, if you've been following me, I have been on a quest to complete 366 days of fitness straight. That's 7 days a week. I'm doing something every single day. I have built an amazing amount of discipline by just doing this. And I'm at day 353 when I'm recording this. So coming up on that goal pretty quick. And I fully intend to do an episode or a special video kind of talking about what I've learned, my lessons learned, and what I've seen that's now different. But one of the things in making consistent progress is falling into the three major goals, the major progress we want to talk about, what I used to call the three pillars. Let's start with physical fitness. For me, physical fitness, what in my opinion is the base for all three of these. Without physical fitness, without consistently working out, the mental progress and the spiritual progress crumble. Let me say that again. The physical fitness part is essential. And if without it, the mental and the spiritual fall apart. The body is a temple. The body contains your mind and your spirit. And if you're not taking care of the body, if you don't feel good, if you're in poor health, you're making, you're just not putting in the effort and doing muscle building. And I do encourage everyone, muscle building. It prolongs life. But putting in that effort with lifting weights on a regular basis, or doing cardio, running or swimming or some sort, without these things, I have learned that the mental and the spiritual stop functioning. If I stop working out, and I did this before I started my latest 366-day challenge, I was inconsistent again. And when I got inconsistent up here, and I got inconsistent here. Things just fell apart. A person who commits to daily exercise is going to see gradual improvements and in their strength, endurance, and overall fitness. So I want to share 2 quotes from who else in this area? Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger, if you don't know, is one of the most amazing people. Love him or hate him because of some of the choices he's made. If you follow his career and you study it, you will be amazed. I highly recommend the Netflix series they did on him, the 3-part series. This will help you understand it. But let me share these 2 quotes with you from him. First one, the last 3 or 4 reps is what makes the muscle grow. This area of pain divides a champion from someone who is not a champion. And then the other quote I have is, you can have results or excuses, not both. So let's move on to the next one, mental clarity. Developing a discipline in your mental capacities is important. The physical actually will help contribute to that, in my opinion, but you have to go further. What you need to do is develop other practices, such as meditation is one option. Reading, for me, following podcasts, absorbing and sucking in information when I can. I get into these spurts, and right now I'm in one myself, where I just want to read books and I want to listen to podcasts. I want to just enrich my mind and learn from all the various people who have all these things to offer. And by making I do this daily. This is so important. And it's part of why this is every damn day. Every single day, I'm doing something. And I'm looking to do this every day. When you dedicate 30 minutes or more to journaling, to reading, to something, I dedicate an hour to an hour and a half because I'm actually listening to a book while I'm working out. Hey, see, the fitness works. It actually does tie in because I'm doing both at the same time. Pretty awesome, huh? I want to share a quote from Kobe Bryant. The moment you give up is the moment you let someone else win. This is a mental thing where when you give up, it's all here. I mean, when it's physical fitness, you want to give up, and you want the muscle to fail. That's different. But when you say, I don't want to go to failure and I'm going to quit, you've lost here. That discipline's gone. It's all mental at that point. Spiritual growth. This is where, again, the physical helps to build this because you want to reach a point of feeling more gratitude. And when you've done physical fitness enough, your body relaxes. You have expended that energy, that frustration, that anger. It's released, and you're opening yourself up to more spiritual enlightenment. And gratitude is one of the most important pieces of that, in my opinion. And having a disciplined approach to spiritual practices, if you're part of a religion, prayer, mindfulness, attending religious services, all of these things. If you're not, there are still things you could do. Meditation also falls into the spiritual. there are things you can do. Go out and have a nature walk. Be part of nature. There are so many different angles from the spiritual focus that you can do to build discipline. There's a great quote. This is slowly becoming one of my favorites. Muhammad Ali, he says, when a man can control his life, his physical needs, his lower self, he elevates himself. And I took this one to heart because I can relate. I took control of my physical needs. I took control of my mental. And as a result, I've elevated myself to a new plane of existence, a new person, as a matter of fact. What are some ways that we can maintain our consistency? Well, set specific and achievable goals. Now, I set my goals in a couple ways. I do say, for example, I want to weigh 199 pounds. That's a long-term goal. And there's nothing wrong with long-term goals, but you do need to set some smaller goals, because if you're always thinking about that larger goal and you're not making any progress, you're just going to defeat yourself. So focus on taking little bites out of that at a time, at the same time as you're thinking about the larger goal. So do that, and then track this progress daily. It's good to do journaling with this, to do apps or even spreadsheets. Keep a track of not just your physical fitness, like dieting and your macros or your weight training, but also keep track of what books did you read this year. It's good to review that at the end of the year. Are you maintaining a spirit or scripture journal if you're reading scriptures and things of that nature? Track your progress. Then adjust and adapt your plans as needed. Be flexible. Life happens. Things get in the way. Make changes. Don't beat yourself up when things are actually not going the way you want them to. Research from the American Psychological Association shows that people who set specific goals are 10 times more likely to achieve them. Episode before this, I talked about 10x is easier than 2x, the book that Ben Hardy wrote. Funny how that's 10 times, 10x. That falls right in line with his thinking. Another great person that I like to follow is David Goggins. And he's got a great quote here that I like. And I love David Goggins in the fact that he's just so blunt and down to earth. He's not a Jordan Peterson. He's not a Jim Rohn. No, I didn't have to clean this up. This is actually one of his cleaner quotes. Motivation is crap. Motivation comes and goes. When you're driven, whatever is in front of you will get destroyed. So another ingredient, another part of discipline is developing time management. And the role of time management, discipline actually helps you with prioritizing tasks and staying committed to schedules. It's important in prioritizing things. If you have studied you'll have to forgive me, I cannot remember the name of it, but there's the 4 squares where you've got the urgent, the important, and you have to determine what is urgent and what is important and what is not important, and where it falls into that quadrant. I can't remember that, but that comes to mind when I'm thinking about this. When you are picking specific tasks that are tied to your goals, you actually make progress and that discipline forms. And if you're avoiding getting distracted by email, social media, TV, all of those things, that discipline builds even stronger. Another way to do this with time management is use calendars and to-do lists. And planning your day, this is an interesting thing. Planning your day is important, and I'm going to immediately go right into allocating time blocks. And we talked about this in the last episode when we were talking about what Ben Hardy said in 10x is easier than 2x. I think of time blocking days. So you have focus days, you have buffer days, and you have free days. And you can time block those even further, but I like to organize those activities in that respect as much as I can. Sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. You just do your best. A study by McKinsey found that executives who manage their time effectively are 33% more productive. And then I've got another quote that I want to tie in here as well from Stephen R. Covey. The key is in not spending time, but in investing it. I talked about investing in yourself, investing in time. That's very important. Another component of discipline is increased productivity. Um, Getting into a disciplined approach is going to lead to higher efficiency and a better use of your time and resources. Some of the techniques that you can use to boost your productivity here: eliminate distractions. And I will admit that I struggle with this from time to time. Being on social media can be really difficult because you're having to go back and check things and monitor things and make sure things are working. And then I fall into the rabbit hole and I start, ooh, hey, somebody posted this. I just get sucked in. Sometimes what I have to do is just take my phone and put it aside completely and not do that. Focus on one task at a time. One task, monotasking. I have one of these cubes right here. This is one of those where you turn it to the time that you want, and then you set it down, and it starts. And once I've put it down, I'm focused on that task until that goes off for however long I've said. So monotasking. And then take regular breaks. I am so guilty of not doing this some days. This is part of the reason why I do this time block too, so that I can take breaks. It's important to take, a 5-minute break, recharge, get up, walk, move. That's part of it. That was part of this whole 366 days of fitness. I need to move more. I wasn't moving enough. I'm sitting in a chair a lot. My job requires me to sit in a chair 8 hours a day. And then I'm running businesses. And here I am in a chair for more hours out of the day. I have to take breaks. It's so important. According to the Harvard Business Review, multitasking can reduce productivity as much as 40%. So it's important that you focus and you keep your mind on what it is that you are trying to accomplish from beginning to end. Monotask. I want to throw another Arnold Schwarzenegger quote at you. The mind is the limit. As long as the mind can envision the fact that you can do something, you can do it, as long as you really believe 100%. Another part of discipline is having enhanced willpower. Willpower is very important in resisting temptations and in staying on track with your goals. And this is hard. It's taken me a long time to develop the willpower that I've had over the last several years. And this has gotten even better for me lately as I have focused in on my diet more. As some of you have followed me, I have been trying to get out of being in type 2 diabetes. And I think I'm this close if I'm not already out of it. We'll see here soon, hopefully. It has been trying to build more willpower to avoid eating the foods that are going to cause the type 2 diabetes, the health issues that I'm having, making better food choices. So, for example, avoiding sweets and building that resistance. I've done that. I used to eat sugar like it was just like if I was halfway tempted, I could just go get the sugar and just pour it right into my mouth if I really wanted it. But I look at a candy bar now and I'm like, that's not very appealing to me. I look at a pure sugar soda and I go, that's not very appealing to me. I'll admit I still do the no sugar sodas. So I still have work to do there. Done is better than perfect. I have actually seen my skin complexion improve. I had thrush on my tongue. That's cleared up. I'm more clear-headed. I just feel better. not having sugar and have had the willpower. Like today, I went to Costco. I'll give you a perfect example. I went to Costco to just run an errand, to go return something. And as I'm walking up, boy, those hot dogs and those pizzas smelled really good. And it was lunchtime. And I didn't eat before I left. Probably a mistake. But you know what? I even walked through Costco for a while, still smelling it and everything. I walked out and I didn't buy anything. I came home. I had myself a yogurt and blueberry bowl with some little crunchy stuff in it, and then I just had a protein shake. I went healthy. I had the willpower to avoid that. Um, the other thing to do here is to actually, let me back up a little bit. So you want to develop some self-control exercises. So when you're doing this, I'll tell you right now, switching to no sugar, and I'll admit, I've brought back a little bit of sugar into my diet. I haven't completely eliminated it, but I've reduced it significantly. But it's not an overnight thing. It's hard. You can do it, but it's tough. It's easier if you just kind of wean yourself off and just take little steps. Avoid this particular food, then start avoiding another food. Work towards it. Don't torture yourself. If you screw up and you slip up, don't beat yourself up. It's fine. The other thing to do is create a supportive environment. Get your family to help support you. I've gotten my wife and my kids behind me. Every now and then, my girls still make a great batch of cookie bars, and I'll snag one, but I don't go crazy for them anymore like I used to. But my wife, she's awesome. She'll make me a pan of chicken for the week, which I have right now. So when I'm done recording this, I have that. I've made myself some Brussels sprouts that I can just reheat, and I'm going to do that all this week. My wife is supporting me in that discipline of eating better and healthier. And then reward yourself with the small victories. So I may go a couple of weeks where I've done really well, and then I might treat myself to some sort of dessert. I went out with my wife. We did an overnight a few weeks ago, and I had been doing very well with my diet, and I treated myself to one good meal at the Cheesecake Factory with some cheesecake. And I didn't feel guilty about it, and I didn't feel sick. I did pretty well with it, and I rewarded myself. It's okay to do that. You can't completely shut yourself off from the world. You got to enjoy it from time to time. I want to throw this out there too. Think about if you've heard of this test by Walter Mischel. It's the marshmallow test, where he takes a marshmallow and he puts it in front of some kids and different test subject kids, and he tells he'll walk away and tell them, okay, don't eat this. Well, some kids did, but some kids didn't. And those that exhibited the self-control to not eat the marshmallow, they were more successful later in life. That willpower actually helped them, and that discipline worked for them. I want to go with the two quotes again, this time Jocko Willink. The test is not a complex one. When the alarm goes off, do you get up out of bed, or do you lie there in comfort and fall back to sleep? I love that quote. Then there's his absolutely famous quote that I love to death: discipline equals freedom. And this is so true. When you have willpower and for example, you're not going to be eating sugar, or you have the willpower where you're going to be at the gym, you're going to get it done. You know how it feels when you're done? You feel free. You feel good. It's an amazing feeling. And it's just, yeah, discipline is freedom. I love that. And then the other one that I want to share here, the last one, is improved self-esteem. Boy, this one's my favorite because, man, I had poor self-esteem. I thought so low of myself for so long. I didn't feel deserving. I didn't feel like I was worthy of anything good or anything nice. I beat myself up all the time. I had some really low self-esteem. But when you have discipline and your self-esteem grows, this happens because you've built goals. You've set goals and then you've accomplished them. That self-esteem grows. And when you're doing this daily, it just grows exponentially. It's not a magnitude of 1 or 2. It's a magnitude of 10, in my opinion. So some examples of improved self-esteem through discipline: physical achievements. Oh my gosh. This is one of my big ones, because 366 days of fitness, here we come. Every single day I'm showing up at the gym. And that is one of the things I have really noticed in myself, is that self-esteem is there. I know who I am. I love myself and I'm proud of who I am. And accomplishing these goals daily just absolutely feels awesome. The other part of it is personal development. And I'm doing this too. This is, learning something, reading books. I have been reading some amazing books. In fact, I just read Ryan Holiday's book on discipline. It's a fantastic book. It's amazing. And then just learning new skills. I'm always learning new skills out there, especially when I'm doing video and things of that nature. I'm learning new things. And then consistency in routines. What did I say at the beginning? Consistency is undefeated. Showing up at the gym every single day and putting in that effort, that's going to build self-esteem. Some tips for building self-esteem: celebrate the small wins. When you actually accomplish a small win, celebrate. It feels good. You did something awesome. Pat yourself on the back. Tell a friend. Tell a family member. They want to support you. They want to see you succeed. Share it and let them share the win with you. Positive self-talk. Boy, I suffered from negative self-talk all my life until the last few years. And it still creeps in every now and then, but I do a pretty good job of getting rid of it pretty quick. The negative talk, the inner critic that's in our heads, is so destructive. It is just so awful. And especially if you've dealt with trauma previously in your life, that inner critic, that fuels the inner critic. It's awful. It takes a lot of effort to work past all of that to start positive self-talk. I said this in the last episode. If you remember the Stuart Smalley skits that Saturday Night Live used to do, where he'd sit there and he'd look in the mirror and say, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. You know what? Say it. It's corny, but say it. Say it to yourself. People like you. You are awesome. Just talk yourself up in your head and let other people do the same. Accept the compliments. It feels good. Set realistic goals. Now, that's the thing about goals. If you set an impossible goal and you don't make it, you're going to self-defeat yourself. You're going to completely destroy yourself. You have to set realistic ones. This is why, for me, the first challenge for every damn day was show up at the gym 5 days a week, because I'd take a 2-day break. Sometimes I go 6, but most of the time I was doing 5 days a week at the gym. And I did that for 2 years straight. Then I took a break. Now, when I started this 7 days a week challenge for a year, I didn't initially start it that way. It started as a 60-day goal. I don't know if you knew that, but it was a 60-day goal. Then it became a 90-day goal. Then it was to the end of 2023. And then as I got closer to the end of 2023, I'm like, no, this is going for a year. At that point, I knew it was realistic to do a year. So I went for the year. And let's see what I'm going to do when I hit day 366. I'll let you know what my next goal is. I have one already in mind. And it's a doozy. It's a doozy. I'll tell you right now. A study by the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that individuals who regularly set and achieve goals report higher levels of self-esteem. I can confirm this. I set goals all the time, and sometimes I make them, sometimes I don't. But I make sure to try and set goals that are within reach, because I know that if I keep setting goals that I can't reach, then I'm just self-defeating. So set realistic goals. Another quote from David Goggins. I love this one too. Most people who are criticizing and judging haven't even tried what you failed at. So true. So true. Everyone, discipline is so amazing, and it's so powerful. Implement these strategies. Build your discipline. If you're struggling with discipline today, if you fell off the wagon and you stopped going to the gym, or you stop reading the books, or you stop praying, or you stop doing the things that you're doing, get back on. Just get back on and keep working on it, and take these suggestions that I've made and just make those refinements so that you can actually build that discipline that you need. 366 days of fitness is going to happen. It didn't occur without discipline. Sheer, unshakable discipline is what that took. And it's no small feat. It's no easy task. There were days when I got to the end of the day and I almost forgot. But I got out there. It was dark, and I went for a long walk. And I did it anyway. And do not slam walking. Walking is a very healthy fitness activity. And for some people, that's the best they can do. For me, that's the least I can do. I can put in a good walk, get my heart rate up, and I can burn those calories. You can too. I want to remind you the benefits: consistent progress, better time management, increased productivity, enhanced willpower, and improved self-esteem. All of these things are a part of discipline. This is what you're going to have when you build that discipline. These are the ingredients that you're going to have. One last quote that I want to share with you. Again, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's one of the biggest examples of discipline. What we face may look insurmountable, but I learned something from all those years of training and competing. I learned something from all those sets and reps when I didn't think I could lift another ounce of weight. What I learned is that we are always stronger than we know. Everyone, folks, yes, he's right. 5.5 years ago, I didn't see me like this. I didn't know I was this strong. I had no idea. Now, I'm stronger than I've ever been. I'm stronger physically, muscle-wise. I am stronger mentally, more than I have ever been in my life. I have overcome so much. And I am stronger spiritually. Am I perfect? No. And I don't even consider myself done. They say done is better than perfect. I'm still not done. I have more to go. Discipline will get me there. Everyone, thank you so much for watching today. We'll go to part 2 next week. Take care.